WVUA 23 Law Call. With guidance from the personal injury law firm of Prince, Glover, and Hayes, with founding attorney Bob Prince, dedicated to helping thousands of people across the state of Alabama for more than 30 years. Attorney Matt Glover, honored by the National Trial Lawyers as one of Alabama's top 40 under the age of 40. Attorney Josh Hayes, recognized as one of the 10 best personal injury attorneys in Alabama. Hosted by award-winning news anchor Lynn Brooks and guests from across central Alabama. Your rights, your calls, live. This is WVUA 23 Law Call.
Hello and welcome to WVUA Law Call. I'm your host, Danny Salter, in for Lynn Brooks. Every week we take your questions about different legal topics live on the air. Those questions get answered by West Alabama attorneys. Before we go to the phones and your questions, though, let's take a look at tonight's topic and what else we'll be talking about. When a product hurts you, it's natural to want to blame somebody, but who is actually at fault? The manufacturer, the store you bought the product from. Give us a call at 205-348-WVUA. That's 348-9882. Also, when something happens, you feel wronged, you want to sue, but do you really need an attorney? We'll talk about when you should hire a lawyer, and we will answer some of your email questions. First up, let's say hello to our host attorney. Blake Williams is here from Prince, Glover, Hayes. Blake, thanks so much for being with us this evening.
Glad to be here, Danny.
Now, Blake, in life, people get angry. And many times they will say things like, well, I'm going to call my attorney and I'm going to sue that guy. But you don't always really need an attorney, do you? When do we actually need to hire a lawyer?
Well, Danny, the fact of the matter is the law can be complicated. So it is a good idea a lot of times to contact an experienced attorney from the very beginning and get their opinion. There are many different types of cases, but no matter what type of case you have, the law can be different. And so, I meet with people many times and discuss their case, their particular situation, and sometimes we determine, hey, this is not something that you need a lawyer for various reasons. But a lot of times it is good to get a lawyer involved because a lawyer is experienced with the law, knows the law in that area, and also when it comes to dealing with, a lot of times dealing with insurance companies, people don't do that every day. And you get to dealing with an insurance company they know what to do. And so you need someone like an experienced attorney that knows how to deal with insurance companies, know how to deal with big companies. On your screen you see 3 examples there. If you've got long-term injuries, if you have a potential medical malpractice case, or like I was just discussing, an insurance company is refusing to pay you, you need to know how to handle those situations. Those are all good times to go speak with an attorney.
All right, for more you can visit www.princelaw.net or go to WVUA23.com and click on the Law Call link. Well, tonight, when a product hurts you, so if you have a question about that, give us a call at 205-348-WVUA. That's 348-9882. You can also send us your questions online at lawcall.com/Tuscaloosa. But please give us a call. The show's so much better whenever we have lots of callers who call us and ask us their questions. And hopefully, maybe we could even stump Blake on one of these when a product hurts you questions. And Blake, this is definitely a situation where you want to have an attorney on your side because generally a product is going to come from a big manufacturer. They're going to be a company that's going to be worth upwards of 10, maybe 100 million, maybe even $1 billion.
Right.
They're going to have lots of legal help.
Right.
And you're going to kind of be on your own. Talk to us a little bit about the kind of situation that you can find yourself in if you try to go it alone against a big corporation that makes a product that unfortunately has harmed you.
Well, in those situations, that company, that corporation can have, like you said, the attorneys, they can have the experts that they need, and they definitely have the money that they need to be able to defend a claim or a case. And so, as you just said, you need someone from the very beginning that is working on your behalf, that knows the law. And it's important that they know the law because when you know the law, you know what you have to prove. You can go ahead and get experts involved and start investigating, take the product, make sure that, if in this case we're talking about products, make sure it's kept safely. And then you can have someone come in and look at it to determine whether it is defective, whether there is a problem with it. You may not be thinking like that initially. You may be thinking, hey, they're going to work with me. They did something wrong, so they're going to help me. They're going to do what's right, and that's not always the way it works. And so it's good to have an attorney who can get experts involved, people that are knowledgeable in that specific field, to go ahead and be working on your behalf.
So you don't want to do what I would do. My first instinct generally would be if something were to hurt me, I would sling it across the room or try to hurt it back. But you definitely want to keep whatever it is, be it a light bulb, a tire, I don't know, one of these hoverboards that we're seeing so much about in the news right now, and make sure that item is in the same condition that it was whenever it hurt you, right?
Exactly. I mean, you want to preserve that evidence is what it is. You want to make sure it's preserved so that in your potential case, you can use that and show, hey, this is the condition. The condition you see it in now is the condition that I used it in. When I was hurt, that's the same condition. Nothing has been altered or changed since that point. And so you can show sort of a chain of custody from that injury time to a later point and say nothing has changed with that. What you see now is the same thing that was seen then. If you do like you said and you throw it up against the wall, then the product may even be destroyed and you're at a very tough spot. And it's easy to get angry in those situations, but it's important to make sure that the product stays in a good condition.
Now, not always is it going to be a product that we see on television or buy. Sometimes this could be something that happens to you as a result of a service, like a surgery. And I believe we have a caller with us right now. Brenda from Hueytown, you're on the air. Brenda, what's your question for Blake?
I had surgery in 2013 on my left ankle, and it wasn't going back right. So I had to get an ankle specialist, and the ankle specialist did his surgery. And the next four months after his surgery, I couldn't hardly move my left leg or my feet. So I don't know what I should do. I said I probably can't prove that it's malpractice, but can I sue for a civil suit?
The question of can you sue in a civil suit? The answer is can you? Yes. Let me say first off, I think you mentioned that the surgery happened in 2013. We are almost leaving 2015 going to 2016, so the main thing that kind of concerns me a little bit about your call is that there is a statute of limitations on personal injury actions in Alabama, and a 2-year statute of limitations is going to apply to your injury. So first thing, you need to call, if you're serious about pursuing a claim, pursuing a case, call an attorney immediately to make sure the statute hasn't passed to make that claim. But can you file a suit? Can you make a claim? Yes. And you're going to have to show that doctor, that physician breached some standard of care. That's going to usually require some type of expert testimony. And a lot of times in these type cases, what you can show is that a doctor didn't go through what's called like a differential diagnosis and start with sort of the least risky options to address your condition and move to the most risky. But you need to get an attorney involved, at least contact an attorney just to make sure that statute hasn't passed and to see if you potentially have a case.
Thank you, Brenda, for your question. We have JD with us next. JD, we're talking about when a product hurts you. What's your question for Blake?
My question is, I was at work and the chair had broke with me and I messed my hip up. My employer has not contacted me, quit sending me to the doctor and everything. And I'm like stuck in a bind and I'm still having a lot of trouble out of my hip and my lower back.
Okay. A couple things there. If you're still having issues medically, obviously you want to continue to treat and make sure that's taken care of. But you also obviously have questions about kind of how to proceed as far as any potential claim you have. So definitely contact an attorney there. You may have different types of cases. You may have a workers' compensation case. It sounds like you were obviously injured on the job, so you may have a workers' compensation case for medical bills and for any wages that you've lost. So contact an attorney that specializes in that area. And then it may or may not be a products case. We're talking about that tonight, Danny, but that's something an attorney can help you with, and an investigation can kind of uncover whether there could be a products case in your situation. But definitely contact someone so they can help you with the workers' compensation and look into any other potential cases.
Like we were talking about at the beginning of the show, know when to hire an attorney. That's definitely a situation when you would want to seek one out and hire one. We've got Brenda from Woodstock. Brenda's very popular this evening. Brenda, go ahead with your question for Blake.
Yes, I had bought a mobile home, and it was a double wide, and the guys from United Mine Workers came out and put me a porch on my thing because my husband had died in the mines, and they said that the people at the insurance company when the top fell down on one side, and it's still hanging right there. But they say that they're not responsible for it because it's not part of the mobile home.
Okay. It sounds like you may be saying that the insurance company is not responsible, and your insurance policy may just cover your mobile home and nothing attached to it. I don't know. Again, like we've been talking about tonight, that's a scenario where it's good to contact an attorney so they can look into that to see if there is any insurance coverage, because it sounds like what you're trying to do there is, it sounds like you're trying to make a claim under your insurance policy to cover the fact that this porch, I believe you said it was built, is falling apart, for lack of a better term. And so, get someone to look into that to see if that is true, that there isn't coverage. And I'd go ahead and do that, quickly to stay on top of it.
Now, oftentimes when you have a product or a situation like Brenda's was, when you alter the product, if you use it in a way that it wasn't necessarily intended, that can void any kind of claim that you might have at all whatsoever, should it injure you or someone else, correct?
If the way it's phrased is this: if a product leaves the manufacturer and it is in a defective or an unreasonably dangerous condition for its intended use, then that manufacturer or someone else along the line potentially also could be held responsible. Now, I think kind of what you're getting at there is, if you're not using it properly, that's a defense that someone, a manufacturer, a supplier, a distributor could use to say, hey, we're not responsible, you didn't use it the way you should have, and it's a contributory negligence type defense. Now, that doesn't mean that will survive in court, but they can assert that defense.
And this is one of those situations too where perhaps some of the folks at home don't really understand what all their homeowners insurance or other insurance may or may not cover, and that's something very important to know if you're making house payments or payments on a mobile home, or even if you have renter's insurance, what that would cover and wouldn't.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at your homeowner's insurance policy, your auto policy, any policy that you have, toward the back of any section or the back of the policy, you're going to see big exclusions sections. And what those are is it will tell you in the coverage section, we will provide coverage for ABC, but then the exclusion section, it will exclude coverage for various things. It's good to know that, and unfortunately, a lot of times we don't know that until we start making claims, and then we'll get a letter in the mail with a copy and paste of that exclusion. So it is good to know that.
Now, I think we've got time for one more caller before we hit the break. Johnny from Coleman, it sounds like Johnny is unhappy with the care he's been receiving from his physician. Johnny, what's your question for Blake?
Yes, sir. I was under a doctor's chair.
Johnny, hang on one second, buddy. Are you watching the show right now?
Yes.
All right, well, you just go ahead and mute your television, cut the volume all the way down. We're getting just a little bit of feedback. Folks at home, while Johnny's doing that, please remember we want you to call the show, but if you do, mute your television, cut the volume all the way down. There's a little bit of a delay as well, and that could confuse you while you're talking to Blake and I. Johnny, are you still there?
I'm here.
I hear you. Did you mute your television, buddy?
Yes, I turned the volume all the way down.
All right, why don't you just move away from it if possible and go ahead and try and ask Blake your question.
How's that?
I think that's
Go ahead,
good.
go ahead.
Okay. I was under a doctor's chair for 5.5 years, and he had me taking pain medication. Now, for pain medication, a Class A narcotic, he cut me off cold turkey, just dismissed me. Is there anything I can do about that?
Well, we've talked about this a little with one of the previous callers. If you're wanting to pursue a claim, number one, you have to show that physician, that doctor, breached some standard of care. And there are a lot more facts that are needed to really answer your question. If you are concerned about it, I would definitely advise you to contact an experienced lawyer in this medical malpractice field, because there's just so many more facts there that need to be kind of discussed. And so I don't want to give you too much advice tonight when I don't know more facts.
There you go. Need to get them in the office.
Exactly. And again, that's why it's good to talk to an attorney. And we do that at our firm. If someone comes in, that gives us a time, and it's a free consultation. It gives me a time to sit there and to look someone in the eye and ask them unlimited questions. And that's something that it's hard to do on a TV show, but when you sit there at a consultation, you can ask a lot of these questions and get more of these facts that you need to really get a good feel for whether there is or is not a case.
Really quickly before we hit the break, generally how long is a consultation with one of you guys? How long does that last?
You know, I like to be very thorough, so I mean, mine can last just a general case from an hour to an hour and a half sometimes.
Wow.
And it could be shorter. Usually it's not longer, but I think it's important to ask enough questions up front to get all the information I need. I think I'm not doing the proper service to my client if I don't go ahead and get that information up front.
All right, tonight we're talking about what to do if a product hurts you. Give us a call at 205-348-9882. The phone lines are open. If we don't get to your question tonight, don't be afraid to email us. You can do that anytime at lawcall.com/Tuscaloosa. More WVUA 23 Law Call right after this.
This is WVUA 23 Law Call.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at what's coming up on Law Call in 2016 in January, just next month. Well, next week Law Call is moving back to its usual day and time, Thursday at 6:30 p.m. And on January 7th, we'll be talking about fighting the insurance company. We've already been talking a little bit about the insurance company this evening. On January the 14th, one of my favorite topics, it's popular with viewers too, Ask Us Anything. We always get some great calls, and every once in a while, a caller actually manages to stump Bob or Josh or Blake or Co or whoever may be with us. And on January 21st, we'll be talking about workers' comp, and we talked a little bit about workers' comp this evening as well. So if you've been injured on the job or due to your job, you'll want to join us for that topic. All right, tonight we're talking about what to do if a product hurts you. So call us at 205-348-WVUA. That's 205-348-9882. If you have a question, please go ahead and give us a call because the phone lines are open. But before we hit the phone lines again, let's take one of our email questions from a viewer. And our email question this evening is from Lori. And Lori said that she had a horrible reaction to a skin treatment that she recently got. It burned her skin. So she has medical bills and she missed work. How can she tell if the problem was with the treatment product and not just her?
Okay, that's a very good question. First off, what a lot of people do, and it's actually a good thing to do, you can do some research. A lot of times research, just simply going on the internet and you can look around, browse around, and sometimes you'll get lucky and find out whether there have been other people injured using the same type product. Another thing to think about is, did you contribute in any way? And sometimes an allergy or something that you have could be the reason for it. And it's good to talk to an attorney in those type cases because they can kind of get your mind going and get you thinking and going. Like we said, at the very beginning, go ahead and get information from you. It's good to keep things like where you bought that, any receipt, how did you pay for that treatment, cash, credit card. Make sure you keep evidence that you yourself actually paid for it and bought it and the date and all those type things. But yeah, a lot of times research, just looking around, you can find out whether other people are experiencing the same type issues.
And remember, if you have a question that you would like to ask us at any time, you can always just email us. And you can do that online at lawcall.com/Tuscaloosa. Blake, let's talk a little bit about something that you just mentioned, going online, finding if other people are having a similar problem. I know that on television, because I work in television, you will often see these commercials that target a particular product, and an attorney will be running that commercial, and they will say, if you have taken this pill, if you have used this airbag, if you had this kind of spark plug on your car's engine, then X, Y, and Z may have happened. Now, if you're someone who the X, Y, and Z has happened to, do you want to call and be a part of that big mob of people that are working with the same attorney group, or are you better off going it alone and maybe giving you guys a call and saying, hey, I'm having this problem too, what do I need to do?
Well, a lot of times, you know, at any given time you have different medications that there are recalls on, there was some type of problem with them, and so you will see all these commercials. Give us a call. But you know, we have people call our office that have say side effects from taking that type of medication, and there's not just one firm that handle those type of claims, those type lawsuits, and helping people get the recovery they need. And so definitely you can give us a call. You can give other attorneys a call wherever you are and listening tonight, and they can put you in touch with someone. If they don't handle, they can put you in touch with an attorney, usually in your area or close to it, that's handling those types of cases. And so you don't just have to call one big centralized firm. There are usually people in your area or close to it that are handling those type cases.
And Blake, too, I would like for the folks at home to realize this as well. If you are having a problem with a product, if it did hurt you, say it's a medication, or it could be anything. A lot of times people may be embarrassed. They don't want to make a fuss or something like that. But remember what that product did to you, and it could pose a danger to someone else, a far worse danger. So not only are you helping yourself, you're helping other people whenever you call an attorney and talk to them about a product that is dangerous.
Exactly. And what I like to tell people, you're not trying to get something for nothing. You were injured because someone else did something, they were negligent or they did something wrong, and all you're simply trying to do is get compensated for those injuries, for those damages. And so there's nothing wrong with all with going to talk to someone, and sometimes they are things that people don't want to talk about, but you need to get the recovery that you deserve and that you're entitled to. And so go talk to someone if you've got a question about any type of medication or anything like that that's caused you some type of problem.
We have a caller on the air for us, Gwen from Tuscaloosa. Gwen, what is your question for Blake?
First of all, I'd like to say Happy New Year's to you guys.
Well, Happy New Year's.
Happy
Thank
New Year.
you, Gwen.
Yes, my question is, you speaking about products, I'm staying in an apartment that I gave the previous owners 14 days notice about the problems and whatnot. They never rectified them, but they sold the property to another owner. And is there any way that these people can be held accountable for my illness, because I'm getting ready to move out the apartment? They're going to put me in another apartment, but they just up and left.
Well, let me say first off, and we've said this a ton tonight, call an attorney in your area, okay? Someone that's trusted by people in your area to get them to look into this, because a lot of times when there is sort of what you can call like a successor company, a successor corporation or something like that that's bought a company, which sounds like it's the situation here, the assets and liabilities will carry forward to that new company. And so get someone to look into that and to see what your potential recourse is, and honestly, it could be something that you're not even considering now. And so give someone a call so they can kind of look into it for you. But yeah, that is a possibility for that other corporation or company to be liable.
We enjoy taking your calls. Remember, the number is 205-348-9882, and you can ask Blake a question live on the air right now. We have a caller standing by. We have Denise from Gadsden. Denise, what's your question for Blake?
My question is, back in April, I hired an attorney to file bankruptcy for me. I've never heard anything back from him. I called Monday to see if it had even been filed. He had not even filed it. So I went to him, asked for my money back, so I didn't know I was going to get a new attorney. Asked him for my money back, asked him when I could get it. He said the end of January he would have it. I don't know what can I do in this case.
Well, first off, it sounds like a situation nobody wants to be in.
Sure.
As an attorney, I can tell you if one of my clients has an issue, I would love for them to, come talk with me and let's discuss what your concerns are. It sounds like you have done that. If you feel like you have exhausted all of your sort of your remedies that you can think of, you can always call the Alabama State Bar, discuss it with someone there that could help you with any questions you have. But definitely, first off, talk with the attorney as much as you can to try to get your questions answered. But there always is that kind of backstop there with the State Bar if you have any questions that they could help you with.
The topic this evening is what to do when a product hurts you. So give us a call, 205-348-9882. We've still got about 4 minutes left in the show. We would love to hear from you. Blake, let me pose this to you. We've talked about a variety of scenarios when you could be hurt by a service or a product, or even in one situation by the real estate that you live in. Do we approach these cases differently? If a pill or medical device has injured me, am I going to approach that differently than a car that may be affected by a recall?
Yes, as far as strategy, yes, you'll approach them differently because, again, once you know the law for that particular case, there are certain elements that you have to prove to win your case. And so you will approach cases differently as far as what you do in order to try to win your case. But as far as importance, no, at our firm, all our cases are important. So whether it's a car wreck case, a medical malpractice case, some kind of drug recall, products liability, whatever it is, a good attorney is going to approach them all with the same passion and desire to help their client. But as far as strategy, yes, you will approach them differently to prove them up the way that they need to be done.
We have time for another caller. Jerry from Cottondale's on the line. Jerry, thanks for calling. And what's your question for Blake?
I'd like to get a definition for the standards of care.
Jerry, one moment. Do you have your television on? Are you watching the show?
Yeah, I've got to cut down, though.
You do? Okay, well, try walking a little farther away from the television and go ahead and try and ask Blake your question.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you define standards of care, a complete definition of standards of care?
That's a good question. That's a good legal question right there. The standard of care, generally the standard of care is what a reasonably prudent person would do under those circumstances. So, you think about whatever the situation is, if you're trying to say that someone else was, say, negligent, they didn't do what they were supposed to do, the way you prove that is to say, hey, a reasonable person would have acted in this way, and you did not do that. Now, we're talking about products liability tonight. In a products liability case, it's a little bit different. In a products liability case, if a manufacturer puts a defective or unreasonably dangerous product into what's called the stream of commerce, or puts it out into the market, and it's put out there in that defective condition, and then you receive that product and it causes you harm, you used it for its intended use, then the standard of care is different. In that case, they can be held and will be held liable just simply by putting that product into the market in an unreasonably dangerous condition. So standards can differ by case. That's another reason why it's good to talk to an attorney. But usually the reasonably prudent person is the standard in most cases.
We don't have a lot of time left, Blake, but let me ask you this. We've spoken a lot about the manufacturer this evening. Is there ever a time whenever the retailer, the person that you bought the product from, would they ever be at fault?
Yes, they can be at fault too. Anyone in that stream, from the manufacturer until it gets to you, if they were a seller and could sell and sold that product to you or put it into the market force, they can be responsible. But there are defenses available to them too. If they didn't know about the defective condition and they got it as a final product, they may not be liable. But yeah, you can definitely go try to make a case against them.
All right, super. We are short on time. If you have any additional questions for Bob Prince, Josh Hayes, Matt Glover, or Blake Williams, call them at the Prince, Glover & Hayes Law Group in Tuscaloosa at area code 205-348-1234 or toll free at 1-800-536-1104. I'd like to thank Blake Williams for being with us this evening and answering your questions and mine. Please join us again next Thursday night at 6:30 when we'll be taking your questions about something. I believe it's Ask Us Anything. I believe that's it. If not, well, you can hold me responsible. That's it for Law Call this evening. Have a good night.